Hello, everyone. My name is Nitin Motgi. So I'm one of the group product managers in the data analytics group. With me, I have other speakers, David Oaks and Satish Kapsikar from Vodafone. So today we'll be talking about data integration and the challenges that you have in a hybrid environment. So I'm going to start with some basics. As you guys all know, data is the lifeblood of any digital economy. And when you look at the amount of data that's going to be generated over the years, it's going to be huge. It's around 175 zettabytes of data. Now, the interesting question, as soon as I got that statistics, was to figure out how many hard disks are needed to store that much information. Does anyone have an idea here? It comes to around 10 billion. 10 billion hard drives are needed to store that. It's around 10.3. And this year, there were 83 million hard drives shipped around the world. It's interesting. Now, when you look at the amount of data that enterprises are generating and storing, that comes to around hundreds of petabytes of data, right? So they are storing that in various different places, right? So it can be in cloud, it can be in on-prem, and various different systems that they have. Now, when you look at the challenges that they have, data is siloed, but the value is when it gets integrated. Now, the silos are created for various different reasons. Either they are organically created, or they are created through acquisitions, or there are other reasons like cultural and structural that are basically leading to creating these silos. And silos basically prevent you from having a big picture. And I find that picture to be very interesting, because at the center of all of the integration stuff, that's where the value lies. And being able to do that is extremely hard problem. Now, when you look at integrating all of these things, the tool that is allowing you to do that is very vital to your organization. And there are many reasons why it is very vital to your organization. First, it allows you to have faster time to insights, right? So you can essentially go through the integration process to land the data into a repeatable analytics store and then be able to gather insights from it. Second, it has lower TCO. Because it's an easier tool to use, and you can essentially make it available to a much wider audience, it provides a lower TCO in general, and the costs that are included end-to-end are much lower to it. Third, it enables self-service. I don't need to have an advanced programming skill to basically build a system and then pass it through different phases to deliver the solution into production environment. You can essentially train yourself to be able to use the tool and be essentially self-serve yourself for the needs that you have. Fourth, it improves the operational excellence. Because when you have a structured way of defining transformations, a structured way of defining the pipeline, it improves the overall efficiency of the pipeline. It then improves the overall efficiency of the data that is being processed. And last but not the least, metadata plays a very vital role. Integrated metadata plays a very vital role in providing more insights into the data that you have. Now, when you look at what's available in Google today that allows you to get all of these things in one single place, that's Data Fusion. So Data Fusion is a fully managed cloud-native ingestion and an integration service that allows you to build ETL, and soon will be allowing you to build ELT pipelines. Data integration with Data Fusion basically provides a drag-and-drop interface. It allows you to build pipelines seamlessly. It provides a broad connectivity of data sources, so you can connect to anything from SaaS sources to IoT sources to Hadoop sources to cloud sources very seamlessly. And for the people who were in the last talk from Simon Harris from Vodafone, he was talking about being able to connect on-prem and cloud. That's like a biggest challenge on how you do it. Data Fusion has its a twin brother in open source, CDAP, that can run currently in an on-prem version. Data Fusion itself is purely CDAP. It's just, it has a different skin, and we basically reduce the capabilities and control the capabilities that are exposed on GCP. And that's only for a reason. Once we go through the process of integrating completely into GCP, we'll be exposing all of them. The next, it allows you to build batch ETL and ELT pipelines. It also allows you to build real-time pipelines. The same way you have been building any integration pipeline, both of these are being supported. Now, in one case, we would run it in like in a batch mode. The other would be a total real-time mode. And from a scalability and operational insights and security are the critical aspects of it. Because when you're learning massive set of pipelines in production, you need to have operational insights into how these pipelines are running. Having that into one central place is extremely important, and that's what Data Fusion provides. And last but not the least is all of the capabilities related to metadata and lineage. Because you have a structured way of defining the transformations and a structured way of aggregating all of this metadata, the metadata related to operational, business, and technical can be systematically collected and exposed in various different phases through the interfaces of Data Fusion. Now, some of you guys might have heard Data Fusion was GA today. It is generally available for any production environment that you want to use in. So give it a try. It's available under console Data Fusion. So let's look at how customers are using it for building modern data warehouse. It's one of the many use cases that Data Fusion is used for. In this typical example, when you look at it, you have a bunch of different sources, right? The sources that could be coming from traditional RDBMSs, right? Like you have Oracle, Vertica, Netezza, SAP. You're trying to bring that data in. You have SaaS sources like Salesforce, Marketo, a bunch of different things like that, and Splunk and GA360. Then you have IoT sources like MQTT, Kafka, all of those. In addition to that, you have other cloud sources like Azure, Event Hub, S3, ADLS, as examples. So first, you have to ingest that data in, right? So this is where people are using Data Fusion to bring various different data sources in, and they are using Data Fusion as an ingestion tool. So here we allow, as I said, various different connectors that can connect to external sources to bring the data in. The second is you're preparing the data. So Data Fusion has capabilities for wrangling preparing your data. And that's one of the CDAP applications that's available in Data Fusion that allows you to prepare the data visually. So you can transform it, you can apply data quality checks, you can essentially create new columns, you can apply, do transformations, and do a bunch of other operations along with it. The next is you're operationalizing and transforming it and building the entire pipeline end to end. And Data Fusion is also used to build that. Last, most of the times, for analysis, you're landing that data into BigQuery. And that's where you do most of your analysis. And from there, it's accessible to various visualization tools, right? So that's where you can integrate Looker, you can integrate Data Studio, Click, or Tableau, essentially, to build BI reports, if you like. Now, when you look at it, what is actually Data Fusion providing, and why people are finding it to be interesting? So number one, Data Fusion is providing a unified experience, end-to-end, for ingesting the data from various different sources, integrating it, providing the ability to monitor all of those integrations and ingestions that you have applied, provide the manageability of it so that you can stop, pause, resume, those kind of things. There's a lot of integration metadata that gets collected and aggregated, which is extremely important. And all of the security aspects. There's a lot of work that has been done in security, but there's more still to be remaining. But the most interesting part is the execution layer. Any integration pipelines that you build through the adaptive execution layer can be executed, any of the pipelines could be executed on Dataproc, EMR, if you want, Azure HD Insights, and in future, we are integrating with Cloud BigQuery and Cloud Dataflow. So this essentially means you don't have to worry about where your pipelines are being executed. Our goal with this is to provide you with an ability to have a few levers. One could be SLA-based, other could be a cost-based. And you will be able to do cost control, and we'll automatically figure out what's the best way to run it. It could be just purely on a GCE VM, it doesn't matter, but the whole idea is that you can do that seamlessly. And you will have the levers that matter to you the most to control. and we will figure out where exactly. And this would be our recommendations. You need not just use them, but you can essentially enforce and choose whatever environment you want to run them in. But ultimately, you're looking to build, in major cases, you're looking to build either a data lake or you're looking to build a data warehouse. And both of these are using combinations of GCS and BigQuery specifically. That's the clear vision in terms of how we are thinking and how our customers are especially using data fusion. So going to the personas that have been using data fusion. Data fusion currently is being used by developers, data scientists, as well as business analysts, where they're looking to bring data from various different sources, right? Whether they want to bring data from any of the sources that I just defined. They want to transform, blend, standardize, canonicalize, and essentially deliver that for repeatable insights, repeatable analytics specifically onto BigQuery. That's where people are using data fusion for. And then the next step in the process that these people are doing is essentially standardizing, and they want to operationalize it. Once they experiment with it, they want to operationalize it, and they want to have a complete view of the data end to end. And that's essentially data fusion is making it extremely easy for them to do that. But when you look at an aggregate, what are some of the use cases that data fusion is being used for? It's being used for delivering BI modernization, master data management, building of data lakes, building of data warehouses. And in some cases, they're looking at it as a pure ingestion tool. And that's the part where you are benefiting from having a more integrated native solution from GCP to solve these problems. So when we did GA, it was in 18 months, number one. Number two, it's available in all of the 20 regions that GCP is available. So all of these 20 regions have data fusion enabled. So if you can pick the one that is closer to you and be able to deploy it there. Second, data fusion has certifications and follows standards that have been mandated within Google on GCP. So we have all of the necessary certifications, and there are more certifications that we would be adding to this process. So SOC 1, SOC 2, ISO 27001, 1718, PCI, as well as Privacy Shield and such, and HIPAA, of course. So this basically includes all of the GA capabilities, in addition to the more things that we have, in addition to the things that we are going to talk about now. The next interesting thing that was added to data fusion was data lineage. It's a beta capability. It's been in CDAP for quite a long time, but it has gotten new face and it has new abilities, and we are going to do and talk about it a little bit more. So when you look at metadata normalization, and data lineage plays a very vital role. And one important point I want to make is data fusion, anytime when you build pipelines, whether you're building ETL, batch, real-time, or in future ELT pipelines, you will have the ability to look at the lineage end-to-end. Now, if you're going to write a Python script outside of it and want to see a lineage in there, that's not possible. But if you can take the same Python code and put it in data fusion, you will be able to have the ability to instrument it to gather metadata to form the lineage components. But the main reason, while it provides greater visibility into how the data is flowing in and out, it provides also the ability to do root cause analysis. When something goes wrong within a report, you are able to quickly identify where the problem is. And when you look at doing things like impact analysis, it also provides a way to be able to move forward, look forward and see essentially what are the things that would be impacted by that. A lot of governance and compliance reporting requires an ability to traverse all of the operations that have been done in terms of generation of a particular data set. So with that, I would like to show you guys a short demo of data fusion lineage. So here I have a new data fusion instance. There's an ability for you to go and find out the metadata. So you can go into a metadata section of Data Fusion. You can search for data sets. So I'm searching for an aggregated financial data set here. I can pick any one of these, but I'm going to pick GBRI aggregated data. So the first thing you see here is all of the business tags, all of the technical schema, technical metadata that's there. You can associate, and you have system metadata as well as business metadata. Here you can define like properties. You can say department like IT. And this is the level that I can, this is the metadata currently that's available, but you can drill down into it and see what the lineage is. This lineage looks kind of weird. I expected it to have more things. That's because the lineage is on a time dimension. So let me look at what happened in the last 14 days. There were more feeds that were connected. So this basically is providing the lineage at a data set level. It's not specifically talking about how individual field was created. It's just talking about what were the different processes and what were the different data sets that were involved in creating the end-to-end view of this. You can look at individual pipelines and see their operational metadata. What was the process? What happened here? You can look at other things. You can look at different runs that were generated by this. But I'm not interested in looking at it at a data set level. I would like to look at it at an individual field level. So in which case, the next level basically gives me more insights into how individual fields of that particular data set was created, right? I trace back here to 14 days, and now I'll be able to see at a field level how individual fields affected the creation of a GBRI data set. At each field, I can explore and see what is the particular cause for the generation of that field, and if the field has an impact, you can essentially look at the impact too. So with this, I can trace further and see what happened to aggregated financials. Where did other things for aggregated financial come from? So you can see aggregated financial came from another data set called billing transactions. And it's stitching all of these together into a single pane. And as an example, I can look at, there's an interesting here. So I can look at individual operations that happened in a particular field, right? So first thing, billing transaction was read. This particular column was set to, it was of a different type. The type was changed to double, and the revenue was divided by 1,000. So we are improving a lot on this, essentially, but you will have the ability to look at each individual operation and a text that describes what those operations were. So you can traverse back and forth on these, and this gives you the ability to traverse into all of the different data sets. One interesting thing here is it doesn't matter how many processes are involved in generating those data sets, but you'll be able to traverse it at a data set level. And that's a short demo for data fusion lineage. Could we change it back to slides, please? So with that, I would like to talk about a few of the things that are coming up in 2020 in data fusion. First thing that's coming is change data capture. So CDC will be available in data fusion in 2020. And the primary sources that we were targeting is Oracle, MySQL Server, MySQL, Postgres. And that is allowing you to capture the logs and in three different ways. One is using SQL. So you can provide a SQL query to basically say how the data has to be pulled in or how the deltas are identified. The second is tombstone-based, and the third is log-based. So all these capabilities will be available for those data sources in 2020. The second one is the business rule management. And the whole idea of business rule management is right now we are specifying all of these business rules within the pipeline. So if you can extract that out, so technical business analysts or business analysts will be able to specify these decision-making rules using very standard constructs like decision trees or truth tables. And these will be transformed into the pipelines from a processing perspective. And these will have all of the approval flows, the testing capability, which is critical to this, so that they can test all of the rules that they're creating seamlessly within the BRM. The next one is smart data mapping. And the main reason why we are creating smart data mapping is to reduce the mapping fatigue that people have. I mean, if anyone who has used the data integration tool, it's like you spend a hell lot of time trying to map things into. And the whole idea of smart data mapping is once you have a schema or a model and point data to it, it'll automatically try to figure out and map right things into the right columns, right columns from the data into the right columns in the data. And it can be very complex also. Next one is data quality management. And the whole idea of data quality management is to basically help create an environment through data fusion that allows you to control the quality of the data that is either being ingested or being processed. And this is allowing you to have more confidence in the data as you're integrating it through. The last one is CDF on-prem. So one of the interesting things is, while you can run CDAP on-prem, the ability to also be tether that to the data fusion instance is extremely important. So imagine a use case where you're looking at bringing the data from an on-prem system, but you don't want to just move that to GCP. You want to, encrypt that data or anonymize that data before it hits the wire to come to GCP. And then once it comes onto GCP, you want to decrypt it and then apply transformations and load that into BigQuery. That all can be expressed in one single pipeline, and you can specify part of the pipeline that you say needs to be executed on-prem. So it's going to shed workloads into different environments so that the part of the pipelines could be processing in different environments. And it doesn't just need to be on-prem. It can also be in another cloud. So these are the major 5 things that we are investing in 2020. The first 3 are definitely committed. Next 2, we are working on it to figure out when in 2020 they would be delivered. So with this, I would like to invite David Oakes to talk about how they are using data fusion within Vodafone to transform the next generation BI project.
Thank you, Nitin. So I just want to, as ever, explain a bit about Vodafone and really talk about why data integration is really important and critical for us as a business. So Vodafone has several hundred million customers all around the world. Most of those are mobile customers. Some of them are fixed customers. We have a significant IoT business. And we also have a mobile money platform as well, operating across 24 markets, generating a significant amount of data. I'm just telling you this really to explain what makes it difficult for us to do data integration and where our challenges are. We're also quite a global company, operating across 42 partner markets as well. And I work in a team called Data and Analytics. And our goal really is quite simple. We want to drive actionable insights with information. So we want to help people within Vodafone make better decisions and actually drive actions off the better decisions that they're making. And the way we're doing this more and more is through providing and building data products. Now, these data products may be complex applications, visualizations, and I don't just mean reports, I mean actual data apps that people can investigate the data themselves within. They may be analytical models, machine learning models. They could also be more and more, we're being asked about natural language capabilities, so the business can come maybe to a Google-like search bar, ask a question and receive an answer. Or they might be just feeds to other systems, helping other systems make decisions. The challenge we have is our data is incredibly complex, and that is partly because of the size of Vodafone, but also because of the nature of our business. So as a customer, you can visit our website, you could call into one of our call centers, you could visit one of our stores, you could chat to us, chat to one of our chatbots online, and all of these things generate data. And those actions by customers generate data in different systems. Digital systems, retail systems, call center systems. All of these systems are disparate, and they are by themselves data silos. And we're trying to answer questions for the business. How many customers do we have? How many have a smartphone? How many have a 5G smartphone? This becomes incredibly complex for us across our data landscape. On top of this, the volumes of data we're dealing with are increasing, and they are significant already. Vodafone customers make billions of minutes of calls every day. They stream billions of songs on their smartphones, and they increasingly use their smartphones for watching movies and things. And as well as that, they make financial transactions on smartphones. And this leaves behind a massive amount of data that we have to interpret and understand. So the way we used to do this is we would often have a data warehouse that was in a data center or within a business area. And each data warehouse would be unique and bespoke, often in different technology. And if we wanted to bring data together, we would have to build a unique and bespoke data pipeline, ETL transformation, to bring that data into one place to provision a data product. But as we've started to move to Google, we can simplify what we're doing much more. And we can bring data straight onto Google platform in a very secure way. And we're using Cloud Data Fusion and BigQuery in combination to deliver the transformations and the common data products we're trying to deliver to the business. This enables us to drive two major work streams in parallel. So often people ask us, what's the best way to deliver a data transformation project? One way is to do a kind of root to branch, long-term, massive transformation. And another way is to do more of a kind of small-scale, rapid, agile transformation. We're actually doing both at the same time. And what enables us to do that is partly the Google technology, the tool set, but also the use of these common data products. So in both areas, they coexist because of the data products. And it's Cloud Data Fusion that enables us to standardize the data and drive these standard products. So now I'm going to hand over to Satish, who's a product owner within Vodafone. He's going to talk about an example.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I wish you all a very warm welcome from Vodafone. I'm missing some energy here. I realize the fact that 2 full days of many technology sessions, transformations, it becomes a lot heavy on the mind. So I promise you to keep it very lighter and simple. Yeah? So like many of you out here, we are also the victim of cloud and digital transformation. I'm joking. So basically, we are driving it very passionately at Vodafone. So you may agree with me, this is not an easy journey. Yeah? This is full of bumpy ride, full of challenges. But at the end, you have a story to share. And that's why we are here, to share our part of experiences, our part of story. With me? So before we move on to discuss those challenges and those experiences, I would like to quickly take you through the motivation for Vodafone to move on to the cloud. So at Vodafone, we are building data products. And what does it mean? It is basically a comprehensive suite of all the answers a business user or stakeholder or any department possibly can have around one business area. And here we are giving an example of customer benchmarking. Yeah? So it is a very difficult exercise to achieve. It breaks all the silos and empower all spheres of our business with actionable insights and powerful analytics on their fingertips. It sounds very nice to hear, but quite difficult to achieve. So typically, it starts with taking the data, the huge volumes of raw data, normalized data, curated data from your ADWs, taking the external data sources in the form of social media, the agencies, market research company, and you dump it to a place. You wrangle it up, take it through the complex transformation, and then data resides into the data marts. These data marts basically are the user stories. So some of the marts have data updated at real time. Some have transactions, some have possibly customer level, some have aggregations, and some may even have the probabilistics and predictive scores coming from analytical models. And our business user, at the end, access all of this information in the form of digital dashboards or maybe mobile apps. They are also given a provision to create their own report, generate their own dashboards, or do the analysis on petabytes of data through the use of some kind of tools, for example, connected sheets. So this is structure for one product. Looks a little complex, but complexity comes now. So we are talking about having this product for 26 countries. Yeah? Difficult. And now we are talking about building 35 such products, and that's where we need a cloud. So imagine we have to move data from 26 countries for one product at one centralized location to have a unified view and to have the power of data from that data product. And this is what we call the unified data product. So in this gambit, where does the complexity lies? Where the challenge lies? The challenge lies until data reaches to the data mart. If the data is sorted, if it's lying in the right form, right shape in the data mart, building visualization and building models on the top of it is still an easy task. But where it takes the most complexity and most challenging part is from data warehouse to the data mart. Yeah? And this is the problem that we are solving with the help of a tool called Data Fusion. So we'll go to the next slide. So at Vodafone, we strongly believe in 3 core values. And we keep these 3 core values to the core of everything that we do, be it data, be it our customer service, be it BI and analytics. So what does it mean? The first value is speed. And for BI and analytics, speed means making data available at the right time, in the right form, in the hands of the business. So one data product, if we build for one country, and if we go on building one by one for 26 countries, it might take us ages. So how do we manage to have those required speed? The second is trust. What does trust mean for a business user? Trust means it doesn't matter how beautiful dashboard you develop. It doesn't matter how complex algorithms or machine learning models you keep behind it. If the data is not right, it's all piece of a trash. Yeah? So how do we ensure we always deliver the right data in the hands of the business? And the third part is the simplicity. How can we be agile? How can we change things on a regular basis? Because business is not static. It's continuously changing. So these are the 3 things we are solving with the help of Data Fusion. So we'll go one by one. So we are talking about the speed. Here, I would like to call out 3 main features of Data Fusion. First one, the reusability. Second one, the simplicity, again. And third one, the rescalability. Yeah? So what do you mean by reusability? In this example, you see, the first market we built the pipelines, it took us 6 weeks, because we had to build everything from the scratch. 6 weeks is still a nice time, but OK. But while we go to the next market, we could potentially use the 70 to 80% component was reusable. And we could potentially use that, and that's how we finished the pipelines. We're filling the data engineering part of second market for the same product in 2 weeks. By the time we go to the third market, it was just 1 week, because then we gain the efficiency. And this is how we are getting to the speed. The simplicity part of it is I'm talking about democratization of the data engineering. This tool is very user-friendly. It is codeless. It is UI-based. And what we have witnessed, even a moderately trained data literate person can build the pipelines. So you don't have dependency anymore on those expert coders and programmers. You can get to speed by taking and developing these skills in-house very quickly. And third one is the rescalability. So we are achieving scalability because this Data Fusion works on the data procs, and at Telecom, we are always talking about massive volumes of data. One product has terabytes and terabytes workflows to run. So on premises, we see the workflow that takes days, hours. It has been done in minutes, because underneath it works on data proc, and it has a feature of horizontal scalability. So that's about the speed. We'll move on to the next topic. how do we achieve the trust? How do we ensure the data quality? And I would like to call out again 2 or 3 key features from this data fusion. So lineage, I think lineage is now repetitive. You have seen how Nitin has just shown you how to use lineage. It has been repeated in the keynotes in the morning. So I'll not repeat that part. So what I would like to call out here is any business now, the number of KPIs that we see is thousands and thousands of KPIs to manage. It's really difficult to manage and maintain them. For a company like us, we have KPIs even changing from country to country. We have different logic, different calculations. So how do we manage the data discrepancies behind it? How do we sort out with the root cause analysis? And this visual interpretation of this lineage feature, it is really helping us to help with that. The next one is, how do we ensure the right quality proactively? One of the very nice features here is you can really set up the thresholds on the KPIs. Those sensitive and critical KPIs, if you set the threshold, and anytime the threshold exceeds, you get the threshold errors. You can see the errors here. And after you run the workflows, you get to see the visual data logs, the visual monitoring of the data logs. So this is very easy for a service owner to quickly have a view on the attributes in a visual way and quickly identify those anomalies. So putting all of these together, there are many features, but these 3 features is now really helping us to enhance the maturity of our data governance process. And we are really trying to ensure here that we always deliver the quality data in the hands of the business. And third part is very close to, it's my favorite one. So businesses are dynamic. And at Vodafone, we believe in continuous improvement. So how, as a data analytics, how we reflect those changes, the customization business always needs on the data. And this is one of the very nice features Data Fusion has. So I'd like to give an example. Our commercial team had a customer benchmarking dashboard, which they found some insights to present to the senior management team. But they really wanted to change one of the formula there, one of the equation, which was really important. And in the legacy world, if I ask for any change on the set things, it goes through a change request process. It may take days, weeks, because this process is very complex. Here, with this example, the business analyst, who has no knowledge about coding, with the help of service owner, could find out where this equation is impacted, which all wranglers it is impacted. Right-click on the wrangler, change the equation, less than 1 minute, run the workflows, 5 minutes, 31 millions of records were refreshed in the data, and thereby the dashboard was updated. It was a successful review with the senior management, and everybody was happy. So this is what we are talking about, and this is what we are heading to. So coming to the end of my presentation, the last part, the collaboration. And this is a very essential part. So we at Vodafone collaborating very closely with Google to enhance even more, to make the offerings even more robust. So these are the key features requested by Vodafone, which are going to come on Data Fusion very soon. The first one is business rules glossary. Now, how many of you know that in the BI suite, we spend a lot of time maintaining this documentation. Our business analysts really are fed up doing this documentation ongoing basis. This is a very boring job. So how can digitally we have those data catalogs, data glossaries generated? The pipelines, we want these pipelines to be so robust so that any model we have implemented in AI notebooks or inside the AI platform, we should be able to call those models right on the pipelines then and there. The third part is a change data capture. We don't want to burn our resources, keeping loading all the data again and again. How only incremental data gets loaded. And the fourth, which is very important, for a company like Vodafone, which has presence across the world, across the globe, many countries, but there are countries which cannot have a privilege ever to move on to the cloud because of the data sovereignty or because of the government policies and regulations. And then how do we transfer these benefits, the nice thing that we are doing for the company, to those countries as well? And here is an example. Data Fusion can now containerize those pipelines, and we can actually try to achieve the aim to run those pipelines on premises. So with this, I would like to hand over back to Nitin. Thank you.
Thank you, Satish. Thank you, David. I'd like to thank you both. So I think we are open for questions now. You guys should come up. If you guys have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer. Yes, please. Oh, she's coming. Sorry.
So in terms of the cataloging, are there plans to sort of integrate it with Calibra at all?
Great question. So we are working on data catalog to data catalog exchange protocol. So if you look at the standard protocols that exist in the industry, you have OWL or DCAT. Those are the standards. So we right now have APIs that allow you to extract all of the metadata, but they're not standard. So it makes it very difficult to integrate with our own APIs, our own specifications. So we will be providing that, and that's one of the P0 requests actually, to be made that available. Oh, that's a question.
Can you please explain a little bit more on running some of these rules in containers? You just mentioned.
The business rules?
Yeah. Containers.
Oh, containers. Probably Satish.
How we can containerize
that one. Okay.
pipelines. Yeah.
So what has happened is Data Fusion by itself runs on Kubernetes, right? So we are able to, so if you have Kubernetes on-prem, so we can essentially push some of the workloads on the Data Fusion that's running on-prem. So you can, when you build a pipeline, you can say few of these things, I want to make sure they run on-prem where Data Fusion is already running. So it's basically transferring that workload. But from a user perspective, it's one just pipeline, and we are managing all of the interaction of moving back and forth all of the data. Any other question? Oh, there's a question here.
Hi.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. No, go ahead.
Sure. My question is, how long it took you at Vodafone to basically implement the core or key use cases from start to finish, like from the development effort or the point of view?
Well, it was it's an ongoing process. We're still working on it. I think the first use case took a few weeks, probably 6, 7 weeks, something like that. And now we're carrying on building out other use cases and other pipelines. So it was quite a quick process, and I think we've got a team that are very used to using a lot of ETL tools and writing SQL and doing this kind of activities. They found Data Fusion a very easy product to use. And actually, I think what you're getting with Google is the compute power and the storage. And I think there was one batch job we took that took about 8 hours on-premise to run, and when we ran it on Google, it was 30 minutes. So, it was a massive change in the speed and turnaround of some of these jobs.
So I would just add to that. So we are not talking only about the data engineering piece. There are other elements of creating a connection with those countries, markets, with those EDWs. We are also talking about setting up the environment, setting up those development, pre-prod, and prods. So all of these were other things which I have not highlighted here. So this, in total, have taken more than 6 months for us to actually we start walking on the environment.
So there was a question here.
My question is, the pipelines you build, is it developed from the scratch, or is it a replacement of old ETL tools?
It's a mixture, I would say. I mean, we've some of the pipelines we're taking SQL code that we've already written and rewriting it in Data Fusion, and some of it is brand new, so it's both.
Okay, and what are your experiences? Is it complicated to switch the technology, or?
No, it's been relatively straightforward. I guess the hard part is actually writing, or the business thinking to do the data transformations rather than the actual coding itself. So, yeah, that's where the difficulty is for us.
Okay.
There was a question there.
This gentleman, who?
Pick anyone.
Hello.
Yeah.
Quick question. You mentioned about the real-time ETL capabilities. Does that mean that this product has the ability now to replace the application integration products like MuleSoft and does that replace, or does it complement with that?
It complements that. So our goal is not to replace application integration.
Yeah. Hi. So this was a very cool demo. I just wanted to understand, how do you position yourself with other data integration tools which are there in market, like Talent, Informatica, etc.?
It's a great question. It's a very complex process of just being able to tell something, which one, how do we position ourselves. First of all, it's a native data integration tool to GCP. It's 100% open source. Every connector that is there is available on Git, and you can go look at it. It's very different from that. Our philosophy is, starting up, if we wanted it to be more of an open platform on which people can build on it. So none of the other products are, like, at the core open and available to other people. Second, we are not just making it for traditional integration. We are looking at it beyond traditional integration, how we basically bring hybrid and multi-cloud into this from that perspective. Right? So we basically differentiate on that angle, and ability to run on any of the environments that exist today, or they might come in future, being able to integrate with that to support all of the processing capabilities is clear-cut differentiator for us. Yeah, okay, sorry.
With CDF on-prem, can it write to data sources like Hive, HBase, NoSQL?
It already does support right now, so if you go to and download from cdap.io, you download the cdap, and you are able to write it to HBase, Hive, all of those things already.
Typically in the data warehouse, you would have 3 tiers. You'd have your persistent staging tier. You'd have an enterprise data warehouse layer, and then you'd have your data marts.
Yeah.
So in the Vodafone implementation, did you go straight from the staging layer mapped into a star schema, or did you map it into some other model before you mapped it into the star schema?
So, very nice question. I forgot to mention. So this is a program that we are doing in the fast track project. Yeah. So we are not transforming our market right from data sources to replace all of that we have on premises. We are just trying to take data which is already curated in the presentation layer in the data warehouse to quickly build the value out of data. So here, that doesn't apply. Yeah? So here what we are doing, just we are landing it to the staging, where we are wrangling up. Then we are putting into the presentation, and then the data marts. So, but this is very subtly. So we are not doing the proper concretized 3 separation of environments in the scope of this particular project. So we're just plucking data from various countries, bringing, quickly wrangling up, putting into the presentation, pushing it to the data marts, and quickly putting dashboards and analytics on the top of it.
But my question would be more that, is Data Fusion capable of doing something like that?
It is. It's how we structure it. It's not necessarily bound to. So, like, for example, customers do the following, right? So they bring the data and land it into a landing stage on GCS, right? It's structured and unstructured. Let's say that's a bucket. Then they transform that data and put it in another bucket which has very structured data. It's like Avro, Parquet, those kind of things, right? And then from their refined stage, they load it into BigQuery, applying certain kind of business rules. There are quality checks and all. And from there, they can essentially build. In BigQuery, data marts, you can create it based on using Cloud SQL for that. That's another thing. So all of these progressions, Data Fusion is used.
Okay. And have you tested the CDC capabilities in
so
your work?
CDC capabilities, so that's coming in 2020. Oh. So we have a working version of it. If you guys are interested in partnering with us, we would love to work with you. If any one of you is interested in testing it out, let us know.
Thank you.
Oh.
Hi, the question is for Vodafone guys.
Okay.
What is the biggest challenge so far that you have had in this journey, either if it's technical or more business?
I think the biggest challenge is actually probably nothing to do with Google. It's more getting our data centers connected to Google and getting the data out in a secure way. It's actually getting started, I would say, is the hardest challenge. Once you've got your data into the Google environment, that's been relatively easy for us.
I think, thank you, David.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Satish. Thank you, guys.